Parliament has been discussing a new bill which will turn the National Road Safety Commission into an authority. The idea is to give more powers to the authority to be able to improve its regulatory functions. The bill, among others, will give the authority powers to sanction road traffic offenders, including the issuance of fines. But the police has already got these powers and can just be made to be more effective. In Parliament today, MPs have been discussing the bill and they hope to conclude their work by end of this week. So what exactly is in this bill and how will people be affected should the content become law? Will have will the country have the political will to enforce it? All these in our discussion on the new bill this afternoon. In the studio right now is Kwame Kodia Echiahene. He's head of Regulation, Inspection and Compliance at the National Road Safety Commission. He'll explain to us what new items there are in the bill that's been discussed in Parliament that should solve the problem once and for all. Mr. Kodia Echiahene, thank you for your time this afternoon once again. So, before I even go into it, is there an update you'd like to share for us as far as our plan for the National Road Safety Commission making our roads safer is concerned?
Well, thank you. I think what's on the table at present is the review of the mandate, which is before Parliament.
Okay. Yes, so then let's get into the details then. What new things, apart from making the authority, giving the Commission the status of an authority, what new things are there that's going to help us solve this problem?
You notice that for some time now, a couple of years back, we have been consistent to say that there are existing gaps with our current mandate, which sets the Commission up as an advocacy and coordinating body. There are a number of things that would have wished to get done, but because of the lapses in the existing laws, we're unable to do so. And the National Road Safety Authority bill, if it becomes law, God's willing, will be able to fill those gaps in order for us to be more empowered to be able to deliver safety to the public.
So we get the general picture. What we would like for you to share with us is the specifics, if you can. You speak about lapses. Yes, what are these lapses?
Yeah, so for instance, today the Commission is not a regulator. What will change is that it will begin to assert itself, thanks to the new mandate, as a body with responsibility to ensure that road safety-related standards do not only exist in name, but actually get to be put to use. Again, the authority will be focused on institutional compliance. So the police will continue to do its work, trying to enforce road traffic regulations and offenses. But this body will be focused on institutions that provide one safety-related service or the other. What we have found till today is that when you look at the road safety sector, pretty much all the institutions within that space have existing standards. The difficulty we've had is the willingness for some of these institutions to work with these standards, in spite of the effort to persuade, issue recommendations and advice for one thing or the other to be done. But what will change is that you now have an institution which is empowered by law to act in the interest of the public, to demand that your existing standards are implemented at the risk of sanctions, which will come in the form of administrative penalties.
What do you make of those who have said that? We've seen several agencies move from commissions or boards to authority. Yeah. We've not really felt any tangible change. What makes the case of the National Road Safety Commission so special? Why should we spend money doing this?
Yes, it's important because we use the road. Our commitment to ensuring that the roads get safer to the public and also to ourselves. As I agree, we may have some negative or challenging experiences from the past, but there are also good examples to point to. Not too long ago, in this country. We've seen what the NCA, for instance, is doing within its space. We know of the Auditor General and all it's been able to do, given the benefit of law and leadership. I think that we want to be measured as an institution that pretends over significant reductions in lives, deaths, and injuries, and for long. This year the commission is 20 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
Throughout the life of the commission, we've been advocating and putting as much effort to see that the numbers drop significantly. And I do not imagine that with the benefit of the law and opportunity which will see this happen, will rather get us to sleep. No, the public should be assured that once the commission has the authority, or the commission has the benefit of this mandate, the team at the commission is very much motivated.
Which is why we want to look at the details.
Yes,
okay, the details of what exactly is going to change. I think that.
Let me give you a typical
Just a second. Yeah. You mentioned the lapses, so I wanted to have an idea what these lapses are. Then I will know how this new
maybe if you
status.
give me an example.
No. So just a second. I'm just trying to understand the lapses. You shared with me the part that it will move you from being more of an advocacy.
Okay, let me give you an example, a typical example, very practical, which will make, which will connect with many of our viewers. You know the N1, for instance. Soon after it became accessible to the public, there were quite a number of safety concerns which led to all kinds of situations on that route. Before that road it became operational or accessible to the public, there were recommendations, or if you like, technical advice that came from the commission to whoever was in charge of that road, which were not implemented. And as a result of that, we had quite a number of concerns on that road.
Okay.
If we became an authority, it will not come in the form of advice. Okay. The law allows for the institution to issue what it calls compliance notice, that you are required to do X, Y, Z within a period of time, because your failure to do so would have consequences for life and death. And the law allows for penalties to be issued for institutions that fail to abide by these, if you like, standards. Today, if you look at the operations of transport service providers, oftentimes when I have been here, I've been quick to lead you to the examples within the oil transporting companies, for instance. They have quite a number of standards, and they try to work with them. So even though they record incidents, it is not as disturbing as what we have within the passenger transport operations.
Because it's regulated.
And it's a kind of influence we wish to bring to bear within that space. So the institution will look at institutions that provide road safety related services and ensure, with the opportunity of the law, that standards that have been made that exist for public good will be implemented. It's as simple as that. As simple as
that. Well, we'll leave it there and see. We were hoping to get the chairman of the committee in Parliament to get more of the details, of the bill as it has been presented before them in Parliament, but we've not been successful with raising him on the line. But I believe that as they're expected to finish their work this week, we're told.
Yes.
Finish the work this week?
Yes, and I think that it's a good opportunity to extend our appreciation to members on the Transport Subcommittee. We've been having this discussion since 2010. Today, when we look back and talk about a number of deaths the last decade, not too many of us reflect on our failure to get the laws right. So if it's taken us 10 years to get the law in Parliament and get the committee show so much commitment to it, on a day when some parliamentarians have come under severe attack, we think that we need to commend their contribution and effort to making sure that we bring this bill to a closure.
Okay.
So all things being equal, we have high expectations that we'll wrap up the conversation this week and when it receives presidential assent, we expect the media. I'm sure we'll go around to have a discussion on what is in the bill. And we'll invite you to put as much pressure on the authority to demand as much responsibility.
Well, it'll be good if we have, you know, the details at our fingertips. That helps us to.
Well, I could share a copy with you, but essentially, I think what we need to understand.
Yeah, I think you've highlighted it quite a bit, but and I don't think that we over here, because we don't have it in front of us, that we'll be able to get
but
it.
I'll let you have a copy of the bill.
No problem, because then that's how people can make inputs. That's if people are allowed to make inputs even at this time. Have people made inputs already? No.
Yes, true. They are members of parliament. The bill is at the consideration stage, where MPs are looking at it clause by clause. If there are genuine issues of concern, we could do that through our members of parliament. But we've had quite a number of consultative engagements on the bill before it got to parliament. I imagine that all our stakeholders have had the opportunity to make an input.
I hope so.
Or the other. But I'll make a copy available to you, and I'm sure if you have the pleasure of time before they wrap up, we can still have further conversation.
Very well. Mr. Kodua Etiahene, thank you very much for your time. Kwame Kodua Etiahene is with the National Road Safety Commission there. As we heard, the bill is in Parliament, hoping to make the commission, move the commission from that status to the status of an authority, in that they will have more regulatory powers and be able to ensure compliance to some of the existing laws in this country. Thank you very much for coming once again.